But listen, Michael's going to testify about something great God did for us. The greatest thing when God does something good for you in your life is to tell somebody about it. Is to expand and to tell somebody. Be thankful for what God. So Michael's going to testify. Amen.
I just want to start off by saying thank you so much. Y'all have the most amazing pastor here. Just giving me the opportunity to even share this right now is just such a blessing. I just want to start out in prayer real quick. Dad, thank you so much for this day. Thank you. I just pray right now that this not be about me, that this be about somebody who's in here who needs help. It's just to encourage somebody. This is a dark world, and I just pray that I can bring a little light into it. And I just thank you for your grace. I thank you for your mercy. And I just pray just for your hedge of protection over this and this whole choir, everybody in this building. We just thank you so much. Raise your hand right now if you have ever gotten injured and a doctor just said, I'm going to give you a prescription for some painkillers. Okay, so quite a few. Well, I can go through and tell you my childhood and this and that. We all have our own story, but I want to go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of the story. So, when I was 17 years old, 2 weeks into my senior year of high school, I was riding four-wheelers up in North Georgia, and I actually got into an auto accident, and a girl that was driving actually hit a truck head-on. We were going 35 miles an hour. He was going 35 miles an hour. Before you know it, I was in midair doing somersaults. It was like an angel caught me midair and just sat me right in a ditch. Well, I didn't have a scratch on me at all until I tried to get up and my leg was completely broken in half. I mean, it was something you see on TV. It was bad. So, of course, I'm freaking out. I've never really broken the bone, and my leg's completely broken in half. So you're just kind of like, what is going on? Well, anyways, that's how it all started because I'd never taken a pain pill in my life before. I didn't care about pain pills. Pain pills didn't mean no justice. I cared nothing about drugs, any of that. I didn't care about it. I just worried about school and all that. So before you know it, it's a slow fade. It's always a slow fade. That first day is not going to get you. It's day 120 or day 360, whatever it is, because I had the prescription drugs under control until they said, you know what, we can't keep prescribing you this medication, so we need you to go to a pain clinic. So I was only 18 years old. I didn't know anything about this stuff. I thought someone was going to be like, we're just going to try to help you. Well, this guy ended up putting me on very strong medication, Oxycontin, stuff, you know, the whole shebang, all that stuff. So before you know it, you don't have pain, but you're still taking the pain medicine for the pain. And you don't even realize it. You wake up and you're like, I can't even start my day because I'm going through such bad withdrawals just to even get me by. And I'm sitting there at 19 years old and I'm just lost. I'm depressed. I am broken. I am suicidal. But thank God I had a mother who raised me who said, if you kill yourself, you're going to hell. So I was like, I ain't killing myself. And as bad as I got, I was like, whatever happens. So I toughed it out after just one thing after another. I mean, I fell asleep with a cigarette in my hand. I burnt my house down, lost everything I owned. That was another miracle in itself. But it's like one thing after another. I lost everything. So, of course, I'm 19 years old and have nothing to my name whatsoever. And it was because of my own ways, my own destruction. So I moved up to Tennessee and I said, you know what? I'm going to try to get my life right. I'm going to white knuckle it. I'm going to hold on for dear life, not involve God in it, but I'm just going to do what I can do and try to get sober. So I moved up to Tennessee, and of course, you can't ever run away from your problems. No matter what location you're in, if you got something wrong in here, don't matter what destination you're at, the beach, the mountains, wherever, you're still going to feel that same pain. And I felt that inside. So, of course, wintertime rolls around. It's 6 months, and I'm doing all right. I'm up and down, falling back into pills and this and that. Not as bad as I was, but I still had that addiction over my head. Well, I decided to come down to Georgia I knew what I was wanting. I was wanting to get high. I was wanting to get some pills, and that's what I knew where to go. So that's where I went. Didn't realize that the pills that I was going to consume, I didn't have a tolerance for it. So used to in my addiction, I could take pills like they were M&Ms, and it didn't faze me. But see, I had no tolerance for it. And I ended up mixing the wrong medications over about a 2-day period. And my mother ended up finding me with my face in my lap. okay? She lifts me back. She tries to wake me up, and I can remember seeing her in the crack of my eyes trying to wake me up. And it's almost like a bad dream. It's almost like you're like, help me, but you can't move. You're paralyzed. So I hear her trying to wake me up like, Michael, and I'm just like, Mom, help me, but I'm just laying there lifeless, out, just completely gone, okay? Well, on the way, when the ambulance got there, I wasn't responsive. I wasn't breathing, so there's no telling how long I was dead at that time yet. So on the way to the hospital, they're doing CPR, everything, and I came to again. I remember waking up. I've got an oxygen mask on my face, and I can feel the ambulance, the paramedic just pressing on my chest doing CPR, boom, boom, boom. And I'm just like, I wake up, and I remember just seeing the lights of the in the ambulance, and I remember looking dead straight at that guy in the face, and I remember the look, the expression on his face was death. This kid is going to die. He didn't have to say anything to me. I just saw it in his eyes. And I remember right at that moment, I said, I did something really bad. I remember having the most remorse feeling over my heart. I said, God, I did something bad. I didn't know what I was doing. My body was so weak. Like, I was just looking up at him. Right at that thought, right whenever I thought that, I was out again. By the time I got to Northeast Georgia Medical Hospital, my body temperature was 93 degrees.
Wow.
My blood pressure was 80/50, and they rolled me right into the ER. And whenever they rolled me into the ER, I went into full cardiac arrest for 30 minutes. I was completely dead, no life whatsoever, flatline, dead for 30 minutes. The doctor, thank God, told me that, because all the nurses, they were like, after 5 minutes, they said, give up on him. He is dead, there's no coming back. After 5 minutes, just let him go. He said, no. So he told me later on that something told him, of course, which was God, to not stop working on me. So he kept working on me. After 30 minutes, he finally gets a pulse. So they take my body, my lifeless body, and they put me in this like trauma center, okay? This just dungeon. And I'm on life support. My brain starts swelling from the inside out. So they had to do hypothermia. They had to drop my temperature down even more to stop the swelling. My kidneys weren't working. My liver was shot. The bottom of my heart wasn't working. And my brain was 100% brain dead. So if you can imagine me being 21 years old and brain dead and dead on life support. We don't even know if I'm going to live or not. So my family are just praying. This church, I believe, this was before I even came to this church. This is before I've even met Pastor Rick. And I believe I heard that they were praying for me. So that's what I believe in, the power of prayer. Never give up. The prayer is where it's at. Because that's what it's all about. And so I ended up after 2.5 days, and I kid you not, during that 2.5 days, we're talking like, these are the best, this is how God shows off, okay? One of the best neurologists in the whole eastern United States he's like from New York or somewhere. He was doing a conference in little bitty old Gainesville, Georgia at the same time. And they said, excuse me, doctor, can you come in here and check this kid out? And he checks me out, and he goes back to my family. My little brother told me this. He's like, they brought us in a dark, dim room, and it was only dim lights and Kleenexes. That was it. So he knew there was going to be some bad news coming. So the doctor says, hey, if Michael lives to this, he's going to be brain dead, and it would be a miracle if he has the personality of a 3-year-old. So my brother almost hit the ground. I mean, think about that. Like you have to look at somebody that doesn't have life that you grew up with. So I couldn't even imagine what he was going through. Well, this is how awesome God is. Exactly 10 hours later, after the doctor pronounced me brain dead, I woke up. I woke up on life support. I'm not thank God. Glory to God. And I ended up waking up. I got the tubes down my throat. I don't remember this, but my family tells me this. And they said that the nurse asked me, they said, are you in pain? And I just nodded my head, yes. And they were just like, the heck? He just responded? Like, people were like freaking out. Like, they're like, this amazing neurologist just said he's going to be brain dead. Like, what is going on right now? And so, after I woke up, that wasn't the end of it at all. I wasn't hopping out of bed just, woo. You know, I mean, I was in bad shape. I mean, I had frostbite all over my body. I was on dialysis. And of course, in my selfish ways, I woke up and I had 2 tubes sticking out of my neck, which was running my kidneys, and all I could think about was, how am I supposed to go on a date with this? So of course, but I was happy to be alive. And I was just so grateful, and I didn't know what this was. I just knew that I got a second chance at life. And so many bad that my stomach stopped working, and they had to do so many things. And while I was on dialysis, this is why I believe so strong in the power of prayer. Because when I was on dialysis, and I kid you not, if you can imagine, I was 21 years old. It smelled like death in the air. I would be up there 4 days a week for 4 hours a day. They told me my kidneys were so damaged that I would be on dialysis for a minimum of 6 months to maybe even the rest of my life. If things didn't get better, they were talking about for the rest of my life. So I was just sitting up there one day, and I actually started getting a little depressed, And this nurse came up to me, and she said, "Baby, you need to pray." She says, "You need to pray. God saved you for a reason. You need to pray. Pray for your kidneys." And at first I was like, I don't even know how to pray. I don't really know what to say. And then I just say, "God, please heal my kidneys. Please heal my kidneys. Please heal." I prayed without ceasing. If I saw something on the TV that reminded me of it, I started praying about my kidneys. I kid you not, the doctor comes in, says, went from 6 months to multiple years. Exactly 6 days later, he comes in and says, "We're taking you off of dialysis." That's how fast God did it. But the most important story, or the most amazing part of the story, is where I went when I died. I've shared my testimony up here a few times, and I'm so grateful just being able to have this opportunity. But I was a little bit nervous the last time that I shared, because you get up on stage and you're just like, oh my gosh, So I wasn't able to share what God allowed me to see. But one of the doctors came up to me and said, "Where'd you go?" He said, "You were dead for 30 minutes. He said, "Where did you go? You had to have gone somewhere." And at first I said, "I didn't go nowhere." I said, "I blacked out," and that's all I remember, was blacked out. And God didn't want that. He didn't want me that leaving my lips anymore. He had to show me quick. He's like, "I don't want you going around telling people that you just blacked out. So let me show you. Let me allow you to see." And this was in the hospital while I was in the bed. Okay, he showed me, and there was nobody in the room. He just took me to the place, because usually there was always nurses coming in and out, and at this time it was me by myself. No one was in the room, and it was it was so amazing. I was in heaven, and when I closed my eyes, I can see it. It was like I didn't see the pearly gates. I didn't see it. I wasn't spiritually ready to see all that. I was broken. I was hurt. So I'm up in heaven, and I kid you not, the human flesh cannot describe how good it felt. I felt as light as a feather. I felt like just you can't even describe it. No drug, no sex, nothing can make you feel this way. There is nothing in our humanly bodies that can make you feel the way that I felt. And I'm standing up there, and I'm in all white. I've got no tattoos, in which, with my shirts off, I actually have a good bit of tattoos. So when I was up there, I had no tattoos whatsoever on me. Okay, and I'm just looking around, and I just see this image just coming closer and closer and closer, and before you know it, it's Jesus Christ. And when I kid you not, when I say it's Jesus, it's Jesus. You don't not recognize Jesus. The way he came up to me and the way that he glowed. He just glowed. Just light was radiating off of him. He didn't come up to me and say, "Michael, you're a drug addict. Michael, you disgrace me." He didn't say that. He came up to me, did not say anything, but hugged me. He hugged me and he held me. Because I needed to be held. I needed to be held because I was hurt so bad. I was just this broken man who was this broken child. I wasn't even a man. I was a child. I was a little bitty kid in a grown man's body. And he held me. And during the 30 minutes, it felt like forever. But I would say that he probably held me during that time. He held me for at least 15 minutes. But it felt like forever, like I said. But if we did it on human time or whatever. But he just held me. And we were walking. And he's got his hand on my back. And we actually come up across 2 tree stumps. And they're the most perfectly cut tree stumps. And we're sitting there face to face. And he asked me, he says, "Do you want to stay here or do you want to go?" He gave me the opportunity. He said, "You can stay here or you can go back." And you want to talk about pleading with Jesus. I told him, I said, please give me a second chance. I said, I have not lived. I have been addicted. My heart just cried out, just please, just give me a second chance. I want to do good. I want to do good. And my brother, me and him, we grew up with a single mom, and it's just, we were like this. And I was like, I can't leave my brother. Please don't let me leave my brother. And that's what I said to him. I'm like, please. And he had enough grace to give me that second chance. And I kid you not, it was just healing after healing after healing. And when I saw that, when I saw the vision, when I saw where I went, where I felt, I was like, that's it. That's all the proof I need. I'm done. I'm done with talking. I'm done with what I got to do. This is all about God now. He gave me the second chance. It was a miraculous healing. I mean, my body just healed so much faster than it normally would. And I had to break down and check myself into a 10-month Christian drug program called No Longer Bound, and I've been sober since. It's been 6 years, but the biggest thing is, and this is why God has given me this testimony to share with people, is because I'm not afraid to share it. And I feel like I just want to encourage people. Like, I don't know who's in this room right now who may be dealing with something, addiction, depression, cancer, any type of disease or anything, but God can heal all things. I do not doubt Him. I do not question Him. But even if you pray and you pray some more, because it's in His time and not ours. And sometimes it is easy to get discouraging sometimes, and it's kind of like, is He even hearing my prayers? Is this really going to happen? And sometimes it don't happen the same way that He wants it to happen for us, but we just got to stand strong and just believe. You got to have faith, and I thank God that I'm allowed to stand up here today and share that I'm not brain dead. I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm not limited. I'm disease-free. I don't have any of those things because God healed me, and He can do the same with anybody. And I just encourage you, just whatever you're dealing with, just lay it on the cross. Just leave it with Him, because it ain't worth it. It ain't worth holding on to. It's not worth doing that, and our mess is our message, and our test is our testimony. So you may be going through a test or going through some mess, but you're going to get through it, because if He brings you to it, He's going to bring you through it. And I believe that, and it's like, just God is just so good. And since that, it's just, I don't know, I'm excited to be here right now. I'm excited to speak to y'all, and just thank you so much for allowing me to share my testimony. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it.